Alright guys, I'm going to take you through today an abs toning session using Pilates. So the first thing we need to think about is how to do a Pilates crunch. It's a little bit different from crunches that you may have done in the gym before. So you need to think about some of the principles that's going to stop us pushing out through the abdominals and toning in an outward fashion. We need to tone with everything drawn inwards. So the first thing to think about is your deep abdominals muscle, which is a transversus abdominis. This is linked with your pelvic floor. So when you tighten your pelvic floor, you're going to tighten up through the deep abdominals. We need to think about this section here being like a tin can, all the way round. So the label of the tin can is like your deep abdominals. That's your corset that pulls all the way round. The bottom of the can is your pelvic floor, and the top is your diaphragm. So we need to think about drawing down through the whole of the can here, down towards your your pelvic floor, and then you lift up through the pelvic floor. Your diaphragm at the top just needs to stay nice and relaxed. So we're not bracing and pushing everything downwards. We're staying relaxed through the diaphragm, and we're drawing down through this section here and lifting up through the pelvic floor. Now I'm going to demonstrate that a little bit here. We're going to lie on our backs, feet hip width apart. Find the little arch in your back, which is your neutral pelvis. We need to draw the ribs down or melt the ribs down, open out through the front of the chest and tuck the chin. So that's your Pilates rest position. When we come into a crunch, if we can put the hands behind our heads, we're going to keep the elbows nice and wide, and we're going to come into a crunch here. Now, what we're thinking about is drawing the ribs down to the pelvis at the front, not the chin to the chest, and not the elbows coming forward. So keep the elbows wide, they're just framing the head. And we're going to draw the ribs down towards the pelvis. Now what I want you to think about is that tin can all the way around, and we're pulling everything down. Think as well about 2 springs on the front and 2 springs on the back, and we're shortening all of those springs. So drawing the ribs down at the front, drawing the shoulder blades down at the back. So we're shortening and pulling down as we crunch. Now you need to think about drawing in through your lower tummy. Good. As we go. And think about tightening through the pelvic floor. That'll help with those deep abdominals to stay tight. Good stuff. So these are just your crunches. Hopefully you started to join in with me here as well. Make sure your feet are planted firmly on the floor. And if we crunch in this manner without pushing out through the lower tummy, then we'll be aiming at a flatter tummy and more defined. Good. So keep on thinking about drawing down at the back as well as at the front. And keep that breathing. If you can keep the breathing relaxed, then you'll be doing well to keep that diaphragm relaxed. If we brace the diaphragm, then we're pushing out through the lower tummy as well. So keep going with those crunches. Make sure the neck doesn't start to ache. I'll use my fingertips on the back of the head there just to support the back of the head, and then the neck is strengthening a little bit as well. Good work. So going to just do one side here. So if this arm comes down by the side, we will just get a very slight side bend there. And when you still think about that little arch underneath the back, still think about that tin can method. That'll keep you safe through your abdominals, making sure that you're drawing in and not pushing outwards. Good work. Just a couple more. Brilliant. I'm starting to feel it in mine, so I'm sure you will be as well. Keeping that right elbow wide, stretching your left fingertips down towards the toes on that side. So we're not doing a side bend as such, but it is interesting. You'll be using some of your abdominals slightly differently when you use one hand. Okay, 3 more. Brilliant. Come down for a very brief rest there with the head on the floor. We're going to bring both legs up to the tabletop. So we need to use the same method here as we bring the legs up to tabletop. One leg comes up first. Draw those ribs down at the front. Scoop in the lower tummy and make sure you've got that little arch in the back there. Picking up the other one without pushing out through the tummy. We're going to have the hands behind the head. And then we're crunching again with the legs up here. So just slightly different. You're going to feel it in that lower tummy a little bit more. Make sure you've got a nice strict tabletop position here, so the knees and the hips at 90 degrees. It's not essential to point the toes, although I do find that it brings a bit of strength up through the legs. And we're continuing to crunch, holding that little arch still in the back, still thinking about drawing down at the back as well. Good, so you don't have to do a lot of these very specific abs to feel it. Make sure you're not pushing outwards, still drawing in. A couple more. Brilliant, we're going to do as we did last time, so one arm down by the side, other one behind your head. Just keep crunching, keep drawing in. If you want some nice tone in those abs, you need to do high numbers. Good. And your abdominals are an endurance muscle, so they should work in high numbers, especially if we want them to support the spine as well. Good, swap sides, other hand behind the head, and keep going. Make sure you support the head a little bit to help the chin tuck as well. Keep thinking about drawing down the chest wall at the back, drawing those shoulder blades down at the back, and then you'll get that toning all the way around the waist. Good, just a couple more. Brilliant, bring that head down and you can bring your knees in towards your chest a little bit. Okay, so just taking the focus a little bit away from the crunches briefly. We're going to bring the legs back out to tabletop, arms out to the side, and we're just going to take the legs over to the side and then draw back down. But you really have to think to yourself about using your abdominals for this exercise. So you need to think about picking up through the hip, taking the legs over, and then drawing in through those abdominals to bring yourself back down again. Pick up the hip, take your legs over, drawing in to come back down again. Good, picking up, taking over, drawing in. Good stuff. So just taking away from the head and the neck a little bit here, giving that a little rest while we're still using those abdominals. We're going to be using the obliques a little bit here. Good. So you're not taking the legs over into a stretch. It's not a stretch for the back. It's a pick up and it's a draw back down. And pick up to the other side and draw back down. Wonderful. Come back to the center, one leg down at a time. Okay, arms down by your sides. We're going to do a set of hundreds. Make sure your feet are planted on the floor nicely. Head off, shoulders off, stretch your fingertips down towards the toes and up and down with the hands. Now the neck should be really strong for this one, the chin tucked. Draw those shoulder blades down again at the chest wall at the back and keep that little arch in the lower back there. Good. You can breathe in for 5 and out for 5. That will help to keep that diaphragm in a good position, so you're not bracing and pushing down with it. Good, that right hand behind the head, left hand up and down. Good, make sure those feet are nicely firmly planted in the floor. You've still got that little arch in the back. Good stuff. Still drawing in through that lower tummy. Other side, and crunch up just that little bit more. You shouldn't go any higher than bra strap level or just between the shoulder blades there. We're not up here, we're just coming up just to that bra strap level, like I say. Good stuff. Last 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. Come back down. Like I say, you should be really feeling those abdominals, hopefully down here and not just up by the ribs. Hopefully this instruction that I'm giving you here will just help to bring it down into the lower abdominals there. So legs up to tabletop. We're going to do another set of hundreds with these legs up in tabletop, so up and down with the hands there. Good. Keep breathing. Stretching the fingertips down. Pull those shoulder blades down the chest wall. Keep your chest open at the front. Keep drawing in through that lower tummy and thinking about the pelvic floor. Good. Left hand behind the head, left leg stretched out, right arm up and down. Good stuff. Drawing in through the tummy. Shoulder blades down the chest wall at the back, chest open at the front, elbow nice and wide. Good stuff. Other side. Good. You'll see my tummy draw in each time. Sometimes I forget, everybody does a little bit. You just got to keep thinking about drawing in, keeping that little arch in the back and keep the shoulder blades pulling down. Good, last 10. 6, 7, 10. Brilliant. Knees in towards the chest. Okay, so we're just going to do one last set of exercises. And just a little bit more complicated. Everything's been quite simple to start with. Your hands are going to be behind your head and your legs are up in that tabletop position again. You're into that crunch again. We are stretching out the right and we are rotating to the left. And then you're going to come back in again and then you're going to rotate to the other side. I really want you to feel like you're rotating around a metal rod down the spine. We're not leading with that elbow. We're leading with the rib across. Good. Brilliant. Try and straighten that leg out each time. 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. Come back and pause in the middle each time. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and just to finish off, let's do 20 crunches here, just trying to apply those same principles despite getting tired, just thinking about drawing the ribs down at the front, thinking about drawing the shoulder blades down at the back, maintaining that arch. Good. And 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5. Amazing. We're going to bring the knees in towards the chest. So I don't tend to stretch out the abs by lying on the front or doing a cobra type stretch. I tend to be more likely to bring the knees into the chest here. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that abdominal toning workout. As you get better, you can run through it again or run through any of my other abdominal workouts that you can find on my YouTube channel. I hope you liked the workout. Give me a thumbs up if so, give me a little comment in the comment box, which is all the way down at the bottom, and please remember to subscribe.